Council on Aging is now being called to order. We'll now have the Pledge of Allegiance. Join me if you can. Stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Francine, will you please call the roll?
Absolutely. Happy fall. If you could say here or present when I call your name. Commissioner Allen.
Present.
Commissioner Fotheringham.
Here.
Commissioner Gorbach.
Here.
Commissioner Hagee.
Here.
Commissioner Healy.
Here.
Commissioner Kopaz.
Here.
Commissioner Norkin.
Here.
Commissioner O'Connor.
Present.
And Commissioner Shentes.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Item 4 on our agenda is public comments. I have 2 forms for public comments today. Speaker card is available on the table at the back of the room for this purpose, and speakers are requested to state their name and city of residence for the record. Okay. There is a, sure the timer's working back there and so forth, but we'll give you a warning when your time's about up. Our first speaker is Jane Messier, who didn't really want to be first, but
Is this on, I guess? Mm-hmm. Okay. My name is Jane Messier from Thousand Oaks. I am the
Bend it down a little. There you go.
better current chairperson of the SAMP Transportation Committee, and I'm here to announce a new program. Team Transit is really excited about this. It is called a driver volunteer program. It'll be rolled out in January. It's actually a mileage reimbursement. It is for people that cannot or don't want to take Dial-A-Ride, and you have to be a resident of Ventura County. And if you want to go past Ventura County into L.A., you would need it has to be for medical reasons, and you have to have a doctor's approval. But anywhere else, this is free game, and it's a mileage reimbursement program where you find your own driver, and then you get paid the mileage reimbursement that the rider does, and then it goes to the driver. That's how it works. There will be a workshop to roll out all the details December 12th at the Global Center, and that'll be 12:30 to 1:30. And there will be another one on the 16th. That'll be an evening one from 5:30 to 6:30, also at Global. So you can pick up all the details on this, and like I said, we're very excited about this. It fills in a gap that both Dial-A-Ride and fixed route just can't handle. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
thank you, Jane. Our second comment is from Brenda Birdwell.
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing today? So those of you who know me are used to seeing me as a senior advocate for senior concerns. I used to work with Betty Berry. I still work closely with Betty. I'm still a HICAP counselor, but today I'm here to talk about the Braille Institute. I'm the field services manager for Braille Institute of Santa Barbara. We have services all over Ventura, Santa Barbara, and San Luis Obispo County. Locally in Thousand Oaks, we have a support group led by Lynn Schwanauer, sitting here, lovely on the front row here. We have a support group every Friday at the Global Adult Community Center, Fridays at 10 o'clock. The address there is 1385 East Jans Road, and it's a great group. We don't just deal with people with no vision, and we don't just teach Braille. We're a lot more than that. And if you want to come to our support group to learn about that, that would be great. My phone number is 805-886-6025, and all of our programs and information are on our website. That's www.brailleinstitute.org. Thanks.
Thank you, Brenda. Item 5 on our agenda are commission reports. We have one commission report today on education from Commissioner Gorbach.
Thank you very much. Last month, I talked about how really important it is for all of us to keep learning. It's good for our mental, emotional health. It's also good for our physical health, for the growth of our brain. Those dendrites, those connections, those synapses in our brain keep learning as long as we keep learning. We keep making those connections. So this month, I have gone through the newspaper and I have pulled out some learning opportunities because I'm always looking for free, if possible, free learning opportunities. So let me share these with you. And they are local in the community. And this is not meant to be an endorsement or even a recommendation. This is just for informational purposes, okay? So I will just go over a couple of these with you. And we have a really nice crowd here in our room today, and this is also a wonderful place to come and learn on the first Wednesday of every month at 1 o'clock. So those of you who are watching on television, you might want to put this on your calendar. And we thank our guests who are here today. The first thing I would like to tell you about is a series, lecture series that is at the Grant Brimhall Thousand Oaks Library. And this one is presented by Cal State Channel Islands. There is going to be a lecture at 7 o'clock, November 12th, called Globalization, Niche Ports, and the Local Economy, a look at Port Hueneme and Southern California and the Southern California logistics industry by Cal State Channel Islands professor here in the Thousand Oaks Library. Also, the Thousand Oaks Library on Thursday, November 13th, is a class called Social Networking, Keeping Up with Family and Friends. Free class. You will learn about Twitter, MySpace, and Facebook. And as a prerequisite, participants should have an email account and come with their username and password. And that is Thursday, November 13th, 11 to 12:30 in the training room at the Thousand Oaks Library. At the Newberry Park branch, we have on Wednesday, November 19th, an introduction to electronic readers and ebooks. You know, there are tons and tons, gazillions of free ebooks that you can get, but you have to know how to use the reader. So take this class. It's going to be again at the Newberry Park Library on November 19th, 10:30 till 11:30 a.m. It's called E-Readers and eBooks, an Introduction. Oh, and they're also going to cover the Sony Reader, the Nook, and the iPad. Just a couple more that I have pulled out of the paper and from flyers around. Let's see. Oh, this one, CLU, our local university here in town, is also doing a lecture series at the Thousand Oaks Library, Thursday, November 13th, 7 to 8:30, The Modern Civil Rights Movement, presented by Greg Freeland and moderated by Michaela Reeves. This one sounds very interesting. And finally, did I see? This one is November 12th, so there's a whole cluster of them beginning next week. This one, November 12th, Museum of Ventura County, which is on Main Street in Ventura, called Ethics in Healthcare, Marijuana as Medicine, Benefit or Boondoggle. Featured speakers will be Dr. Jim Hornstein, Margaret Peterson, Tara Snow, and Chief Kenny Corney, Chief of Police of the City of Ventura. So this is presented by the Museum of Ventura County in Ventura. If you're interested on that, call the museum for more information. Now, a number of folks have asked me about online learning, where you can pick up just about anything in the world you want to know right from your home computer or a computer at the library. And that's what I'll be covering next week, some free online learning courses. And if you have something you would like me to check out for you, please drop me a line at the Council on Aging. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Karen. I don't think that ebooks are usually measured in tons, though. I think that's one of their advantages. I'd now like to turn the meeting over to Vice Chair Healy.
Okay, good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming today. It's great to see so many people. We have commissioners on the council that are liaisons to the local groups that we work with frequently. And our first liaison report will be from Commissioner O'Connor on the Caneo Senior Volunteer Program.
Thank you. I wanted to talk about all that's going on in the Caneo Senior Volunteer Program. But first, for some of you who might not know what this is, the CSVP Founded in 1972, was formerly the RSVP, has been connecting adults age 55 and over with volunteer programs and opportunities in the Conejo Valley for 42 years. There are currently over 1,000 CSVP volunteers working with over 60 partners, agencies in social services, education, healthcare, community care, and more. So a lot of things are going on in the coming months. And so the first thing is their boutique sale, their boutique holiday sale, which runs November 3rd through the 21st. They have great holiday gifts at reasonable prices and lots of nice homemade items. So that is actually at the Goebel Center. Also, just a reminder about the 2015 Wellness Fest, which is January 21st from 9 to 1. And one of the things that Rick Tanaka wanted you to know is that the deadline has been pushed back to December 5th. So any local business that would like to participate in this, there's still time. And you can contact Rick Tanaka at Conejo Senior Volunteer Program, and the phone number there for you to call is 805-381-2742. And one last announcement is that the and this is in the Goebel Gazette. Hopefully all of you get to read that. It's filled with information, and it's called One Stop Shops. And on November 21st, the high-cap counselors will run a prescription drug plan comparison and help with prescription drug costs. Changing your plan for 2015? Get the answers to your questions on Medicare coverage and Covered California. But you do need to sign up for this, so you need to pick up and return forms and this information to the Goebel Center front desk. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner O'Connor. And I just want to put in an extra plug for that Wellness Fest that you so well described. It's for not only we want vendors, businesses that are local, nonprofits that are local to join us for this big day, but we also want the public to come. It's free. There'll be a free lunch, a really free lunch. And we're going to have entertainment, a lot of stuff. It is the first Wellness Fest health type fair we've had in Thousand Oaks in a couple of years. So it should really be a plus. And it is a fundraiser for this extremely worthy organization. Our next commissioner report, our liaison report, will be from Commissioner Norkin, and that is dealing with the Goebel Adult Community Center.
Thank you, Nancy. It's not often that I get to speak about the Goebel Center, except that today Patty is staff challenged and couldn't make the meeting. So I'll continue. I'm not as pretty as she, but I'll try. On Monday, November 17th, from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m., the DMV will present a senior driver program workshop at Goebel. The DMV has established this program for the purpose of helping drivers maintain their independence for as long as they can safely do so. The seminar will address senior drivers' concerns, provide DMV resources, ensure senior drivers are treated fairly, provide information on safety, and provide outreach for all audiences. Call Goebel Center Community Center for reservations at 805-381-2744. On Tuesday, November 25th, 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., seniors can celebrate Thanksgiving early with the Goebel family. The Marquee Cafe will be serving a turkey lunch with all the fixings. Suggested donations for a daily meal is $3 for those seniors 60-plus years and older. For those under 60, the lunch fee is $5. Now, this is a short report. There's a lot more going at the Goebel Center, and you can check it out because online, the Goebel has their Gazette, which lists all their programs. You can get it at gacc@crp.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Norkin. Again, I wanted to say that the Goebel Center is like the best bargain around here. I'm there 2 mornings a week for things. They have the best programs, Lots of them are not at cost to you, some are, but boy, it is a really great spot to visit for the seniors or for any of the people, I guess, in our town. So we're lucky to have that. Thank you, Commissioner Norkin. Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to Chair Fotheringham.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. Our guest speaker today is Betty Berry, and if you don't know Betty Berry, welcome to Thousand Oaks. She is a senior advocate at Senior Concerns, and we try to get her on our program about this time of year every year because she knows Medicare inside and out and is up to date on all the changes that we all want to know about as we're maybe thinking about making some changes in our options and so forth. So I'll turn the meeting over to Betty.
Now it's on. Okay. Well, hi. I'm going to go down a list first of what we're going to cover today. And I will take questions. No, I'll take questions later, won't I? Yes. Questions. So hold your questions. You are all seniors, so if you have a question, you might write it down so you don't forget it by the time we get to ask you what your question is, okay? What do I plan to cover today? Why are we having this meeting to start with? What is the annual open enrollment period? Why supplemental Medigap insurance is not part of the annual open enrollment period? What are the one-stop shops you hear about? Senior Advantage plans for 2015. Part D prescription drug plans for 2015. Filling out the Part D comparison request form for Part D coverage. Let's talk about letters you may have received and probably didn't read. Medicare changes for 2015, Social Security changes for 2015, and Medicare and U-Book for 2015. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand. Well, yeah, raise your hand if you fit in one of these categories so that I know who I'm talking to today. Is there anybody here who is brand new to Medicare? Okay. Welcome. Welcome to the year of the senior. Is there anybody that has a Senior Advantage plan? That's a PPO or an HMO. Are any of you losing your PPO? Okay. Who has Medicare with a Medigap policy? Okay. How about you have Medicare with a retiree supplement from your previous employer? Okay. Is there anybody who has just only straight Medicare? Oh, okay. Is there anybody who has not previously signed up for Part D prescription drug coverage? Okay. Have I missed anybody? Okay, Sharna, it looks like I have a little bit of everything. So we're going to cover all of that. But first, why are we having this meeting? This might be your first meeting. It's about my 8th. I could do this in my sleep. We're having it to alert you to items that will have some changes that you might want to take action on for the new year. We don't have all the fine details yet, although we should, but we don't. But you don't need them at this point to start planning for 2015. I am not qualified to talk about the new health care plan, the Covered California, but I can tell you that it will not change Medicare in 2015. So you don't have to worry about that. Also, Covered California, you cannot get if you are a senior on Medicare. So it's not going to affect you at all. In fact, there are 3 kinds of people who cannot get Covered California. If you're still working and receiving insurance coverage from your employer, you can't have Covered California. If you are on Medicare or should be on Medicare, you cannot get Covered California. And if you're in jail, you cannot get Covered California, okay? There may be some very unique situations that arise out of that, and if it is, we'll take questions on that later. But Covered California, while it's very important for many of the citizens of Ventura County as well as the country, it does not affect seniors. Okay, how many know what this annual open enrollment period is? You've been through it before, and you're going to go through it again next year. But it starts on October 15th, and it runs through December 7th. This 6-week period is the time in which you Medicare beneficiaries have the opportunity to change your basic plans and your Part D coverage. You do it during that 6-week period, or just hold on because what you got now is what you will have for the whole new year. You can only change once a year. You can change from original Medicare to a Senior Advantage plan. Or you can change from a Senior Advantage plan to another Senior Advantage plan. Or you can change from a Senior Advantage plan back to Medicare. You can make all kinds of changes. This is the time of year you can do that. Or you just might want to change your Part D prescription drug coverage. That is basically what most people want to do. These changes will be made for the coming 2015, and the choice you make will be for the complete year. Exceptions will be made if you're receiving low-income subsidies, or if you move out of the area where your plan is. Then there are some guaranteed rights where you can make changes. Other than that, what you plan is what you got. Okay, I mentioned open enrollment does not include a Medigap policy. How many know what a Medigap policy is? Okay, for those of you who don't, Medicare doesn't cover everything. So if you keep straight, plain Medicare, don't go on a Senior Advantage plan, then you probably want to buy a secondary or a supplemental insurance policy to cover what Medicare doesn't pay. Those are called Medigap policies. And because this is open enrollment change, everybody thinks that Medigap policies can be changed then too. They can't. They have their own period of time when they can be changed. Now, you can change it now, but there's no guarantee that you will get it. However, in the state of California, in your birthday month, starting with your birthday and going 30 days beyond, you can change your Medigap policy with guaranteed rights. They cannot turn you down, and you can get what you need. So if you change it now, then some people do, like, I'm changing everything else, so I'm going to change that. You might not get it. Maybe your health won't allow them to sell you that policy. But during your birthday month and those 30 days, they cannot turn you down whatever is wrong with you. So keep that in mind. If you're thinking of changing your Medigap policy, hold off to your birthday. And I hope your birthday is not next October, but hold on. You can do it then, and you can get what you need. There are times when you can change the Medigap policy with no underwriting, and those are called guaranteed right periods. Of course, when you first sign up for Medicare Part B, when you turn 65, there's a guaranteed right for 6 months. You can buy it then. If your plan goes away, and some plans do, then you have a guaranteed right at that point. And as I mentioned, in your birthday month. Companies can go out of business. Okay. The question was, what did I mean when a plan goes away? If your company goes out of business, you can certainly then change. Okay, I mentioned one-stop shops, and so did somebody up here mention one-stop shops. Do you know what a one-stop shop is? Okay, I'm going to tell you what a one-stop shop is. Okay, second question before I answer it is, how many people know what HICAP stands for? Okay, I guess I'll explain that too. You do. Health Insurance Counseling Advocacy Program. We're not going to say that all the time, so we just take the first letters and we make it HICAP. HICAP is a program that comes out of, it's nationwide, but it comes out of the Area Agency on Aging here in Ventura. And it is run by a HICAP manager who is an employee of the county, and she in turn trains volunteers to know about Medicare and all the ins and outs of our health care. It is questions at the end, so write it down. It is a very complicated thing. The volunteers are very well trained, but they can help you through the process of, when you turn 65, signing up for Medicare, buying a Medigap policy, going on a Senior Advantage plan, or changing your Part D plan. I am a HICAP counselor. Shauna is going to be a HICAP counselor, and Brenda, wherever she is a HICAP counselor. The one-stop shops that we're talking about are run by these HICAP counselors, and we have them during this open enrollment period to help you make the changes you want to make to your health care plan. We will be having 2 more here in Thousand Oaks. One will be this Friday, November 7th, and the last one will be Friday, November 21st. I hate to tell you, but those are full already, but there are other cities that have these same one-stop shops. So if you turn in a form that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, we will get you taken care of. But we kind of didn't, I guess we didn't estimate how many people were going to come in so soon, but we are full up. The weeks during open enrollment, so many seniors need counseling that we no longer do the individual appointments that we do all year long to help you. So we take those counselors and we suspend many events and put them all together. So I will have on the 7th and the 21st, I will have at least 10 counselors there herding people through, answering their questions and getting what they need. They can answer every question you have about senior health care. They are really, really well trained. Those who have had HICAP do a computer comparison for Part D, and I'm going to go over that form with you, will be given an appointment at some center. I'm sorry, it won't be Thousand Oaks, I don't think, in their area where those comparisons will be reviewed, and you'll be told what your choices are and how to make those choices. We aim to get everybody covered by December 7th so that everybody has what they need on January 1st. Okay. How many have heard that if you're qualified for Medicare, you can sign up for straight old Medicare, or you can go on a Senior Advantage plan? Okay, a Senior Advantage plan is merely a replacement for Medicare. You assign your benefits to these plans, and they are HMOs. Now, we have a little bit of a shock this year. For years and years, our Senior Advantage plans have been PPO and HMO. This year, Anthem Blues PPO decided to go on vacation. It is not here, and I am sure that was one of the letters, if you had it, that you got it and said, you have to do something different this year. Unfortunately, in Ventura County, other counties as well, but I really only know Ventura County, if you want to go on a Senior Advantage plan for 2015, you will only have the choice of 4 HMOs. There will not be a PPO as a choice. So this is something that you might want to, talk to a HICAP counselor about, because you're going to have to make some kind of change. What we will have here in this part of the county is Blue Cross Senior Secure Plan 2, an HMO, Humana Gold Plus, an HMO, Kaiser Senior Advantage Plan, an HMO, and Scan Classic, an HMO. These plans change periodically. If I'm reading these will be here all of 2015. What happens with the Senior Advantage Plan is in about July of each year, the plans tell the government where they will serve the public for the coming year. If they tell the government we will be in Ventura County in 2015, then they have to be here that entire year. They can't drop you in the middle of the year. So if you know that they're coming, they'll be here for the year. Some people have said, well, gee, it changes like this. These change every year. I've been doing this long enough to remember I had a year when I had 2 PPOs and like 9 HMOs for people to choose from. Then one year I had 1 HMO. That was all. It was Kaiser. And so then last year we had a PPO and 4 HMOs. Now we have 4 HMOs. When a company leaves, like Anthem Blue did, so in July of 2014, Anthem Blue evidently told the government, we're not going to be in Ventura County next year, so they won't be here this year, and there's a penalty to them for doing that. At one time it was, well, okay, if you're going to leave, you can't come back for 5 years. That was changed a little. They're gone, they can't come back for 2 years. So by then you will have made other plans and you won't be doing business with them. So anyway, if you are losing your Anthem Blue plan, then I will talk to you after if you need some help with that. Okay? See, Francine, I'm getting rid of a lot of the paper. Okay, Part D, your prescription drug coverage, they also come and go. Really and truly, that is what one-stop shops really started for. If you have a Medigap policy with straight Medicare, or if you have an HMO or a PPO, we don't suggest you change every year. That would be a little hectic. Doctors might have to change. You won't know exactly where you are, and it would be very confusing to everybody. But in 2006, when Medicare Prescription Part D came into being, it's served by many insurance companies, and they have many plans. If I'm not mistaken, this year I think we have 22 insurance companies offering 31 plans. We suggest that every year you review your prescription drug coverage to make sure you're getting the best coverage for the least amount of money. Now, we didn't lose any insurance companies per se, but we did lose a few of the plans, and then some other plans came into being. So we still have AARP, but in 2014, they had an enhanced plan. It took a vacation. Aetna lost its CVS pharmacy plan. Cigna did away with Medicare RX Secure Basic plan. Health Market's Value RX plan took a vacation. SilverScript's Basic plan went away. And Smart D, we're not too sure what it did. However, Symphonix added a plan, a Rite Aid Premier plan, and United American added an Essential plan. So right there, if you've had one of those plans that went away, then you need a new one. Or with new ones coming in, maybe they look better to you. The other reasons that you need to review this every year is, say your plan is staying here this year, you had it last year. We don't know if their formulary, which is a list of the drugs they have, will be the same. We don't know if the cost of those drugs will be the same. If they have a deductible, the amount, the cap on deductibles has changed, and they don't have to have that if they don't want it. Maybe they had it last year, maybe they don't. The plans themselves just evolve and change every year. And you, the recipients of those, change every year. You add prescriptions, you take away prescriptions. Maybe you didn't have any prescriptions this year, but now the doctor thinks you need something. So this needs to be reviewed every solitary year to make sure your drugs are covered at the least amount of money that we can find for you. And so we added the other things to the one-stop shops, but basically this is why the one-stop shops came through. We have thousands of people who change those plans every year. Okay? Now, do you want to hand out a form? We're going to give you a drug form. If you are planning on changing or want a comparison of your Part D plan, I'm going to go over with how to fill out the form. The form is very simple, I think, but maybe that's because I work with it every day. But you would be surprised some of the answers I get back on these forms. So when you finish it, then you send it in, we look at it, and so to avoid having to call you and say, well, on line 4 you put this, what did you mean? We hope that you would know what to put where it is. So Shauna's going to hand out the forms, and we will go over them. Now, let's talk about what to do with the forms if you are going to use them. If you're going to complete the form and you want a comparison and then end up being counseled someplace for what you need, you can either finish them and mail them to the address on the back of the form, or you can get them to the Goebel Center and let me handle them. What I will do is I send them in packets. I keep track of what time they go up and when they get them, and then I can kind of control knowing it got there and so forth. If you send them through me, then if there's a question, I can answer it by looking at what I did. If you send it yourself, I don't know. Okay? Don't forget the council. They all have them? Okay, everybody got a form in front of them? Here's one. Okay? The very first line says they want your name. And in parentheses after that it says, as on your Medicare card. Okay? So if your name is Joseph Smith, I don't want to see Joe Smith on there. It must be what is on your Medicare card. Home address, I can't help you there. You know where you live, city, zip code, and email. Mailing address if different. And the next little thing, very important, best time to call. If I have a question, I'm going to call you up. Or when it gets up to Ventura, if they're going to make an appointment for you, they're going to call you. And you'd be surprised how much time we spend on the phone talking to machines. If we know you're not going to be home on Tuesday afternoons from 2 to 5, we won't call you on Tuesday from 2 to 5. So if there's something where you know you won't be home, then save us that call. We'll call you at another time. Your telephone number is there, and we want your birth date. Don't worry about the birthday. We have no secrets in this world anymore, so it doesn't matter. Probably everybody knows everybody else's birthday. The next line down says Medicare number. I want you to put a line through there. I do not want your Medicare number. This form remains in my office, and I am not going to be responsible for your Medicare number. They can work without it. However, we do want the date of your Part A and Part B with Medicare. That's on your Medicare card. Now, the next one is, do you have a supplemental Medigap insurance policy? This is one of those Medigaps that I've been talking about. If you have one, check yes. If you don't, check no. If you have secondary insurance from your retiree plan, that is not a Medigap policy. It's a supplemental, but it's a Medigap policy. It's not a Medigap. So I only want it there if you have one of the government Medigap policies. Are you single or married? I guess you can answer that yourself. I've had some very strange answers. You just never know what you're going to get. Now, the name of your prescription drug plan. Okay. If you have a drug plan and we ask you for the name of it. We want the name of the company that it's with, and then we want the name of the actual plan, since companies can have several plans. So, if you have a plan, say with AARP, United Health, they have a Saver Plus and a Preferred. So I would want to have United Health, and I would want it to either say Saver Plus or Preferred. The reason we want that is when they're doing their comparison, they will look at that plan as well to tell you, hey, that's the one maybe you should keep for this year because it's still the least expensive plan. And if you don't have one, check, I have none. Then there's a kind of an oblong circle, or whatever you want to call it. Do you receive prescription drug coverage from a retiree or employer plan? So if you come into retirement and you have health care benefits from your previous employer, you want to check yes. If you don't have it, check no. Are you entitled to veterans' health benefits, either VA or TRICARE for life? So you as veterans know if you have this coverage. If you have it, check yes. If you don't, check no. Then, if currently in a Medicare Advantage plan, please indicate which one below. This is only if you have assigned your benefits to an HMO or a PPO. Okay? I have had people check I have a supplemental, and I have a prescription drug plan, and I have United Health Secured Horizons, which is an HMO. That leads me to believe I don't know what you have, and I don't think you know what you have either. It's a little confusing. Okay, you may be eligible to save on a prescription drug cost and qualify for other programs, and we can help if you meet the right qualifications. So in answering these questions, how much do you pay when you pick up your medicine at the pharmacy? Frankly, I'll tell you, I don't know why they asked this question. But if you're getting your drugs for $3 a drug and so forth, it will help them see where they're going. If you can't answer that question, it's okay if you forget it. Would you use a mail order program if it would save you money? Either yes or no. I had that question today with a client before we came in, and she said, I really liked her answer. She said, no, I go out of town a lot, so I don't want my prescription sitting in my mailbox. That makes sense. It gets hot out. So if you don't want to use it, say no. Then for those who may be low-income seniors, we have low-income subsidies that we can use if you meet the qualifications to help you with your drug coverage. So if you are single and your assets are less than $13,400, that's the wrong form. Let me see if I got the right one. Maybe I do. No, it is right. Less than $13,440. If that's true, check yes. If you're married and your assets are less than $26,860, you check yes. Otherwise, no. Then we look at your monthly gross income. Again, for singles, $1,436 or less. For married, $1,939 or less. These are the parameters that they will use to determine if we can get you help with your drugs. You want to hold that question? Okay. What the help would be is there are low-income subsidy programs where the coverage is just as good, but you may not have to pay a premium or a deductible if you fit this part, or your drugs a brand probably won't cost you more than $2.65, and a generic much less than that. So it's a very good way to make your money last if you meet the qualifications. Okay, that is, then they ask, are you on Medi-Cal, yes or no? I had one the other day, the lady said, I don't know, what is Medi-Cal? So I guess if she doesn't know what it is, she doesn't have it. And then do you have Medi-Cal with a share of cost? Again, that's, for somebody who doesn't understand Medi-Cal, that's a foreign question. But if you don't understand it, then you don't have Medi-Cal, so the answer would be no. That's the first part. Now turn the form over. Here comes the part where the work comes in. If you want us to run a comparison for your drugs, we have to know what you're taking. So on this side of the paper, we want the name of the drug you are taking. And we would like you to copy it right off the label on the pill box so that it's spelled right and so forth, because so many of the drugs have names that are so familiar to each other, one letter could be the wrong thing. If it is a brand drug, and there are generics, but your doctor has said you must take the brand, then you check that little box right there that says must have brand. If you don't check that and you're taking a brand, the Medicare computer program will insert a generic in there for you. The next column over is the dosage. What is the size of your dosage? Again, copy this off the prescription drug bottle itself. How many milligrams do you take? And then the last one, how often do you take it? You take 1 a day, 2 a day, once a week, once a month, or you can write in as needed. All of these things will be keyed in, and that wonderful computer program will churn it around, and it will come up with the 3 best plans that would suit your needs. Now, the other thing I want to stress is, if you're filling out this form, could you write it so we could read it? Printing would be best if you can print. Some people have typed it and just added that right, just put it with the form. I'll take that too. But please use a hard pen, blue or black, no felt tip. It bleeds through the paper, and then when I send it up there, they can't read it. And if we can't read it, we can't do it. And then it comes back and we have to call you up and we start all over. Then I would like you to read the disclosure statement. And then I'd like you to check, I have read and understood it. And then I'd like you to sign it. And then I'd like you to print your name and the date. Now that sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? Chana, what have we gotten in the office? I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. But you'll all surprise me, I know. So if you want to have a comparison run, then fill out the form, and as I said, you can either send it up, fax it up to this number on the back, which is the Area Agency on Aging, or you can get it over to the Global Center, and I will take charge of getting it up there and keeping control of when it is. Now, under normal circumstances, I would say after they do this, they will call you and they would give you an appointment in Thousand Oaks. Well, that's not really going to happen. They will call you, and some of it can be discussed over the phone. It's easy to do some of this work on simple forms over the phone, or they will get you an appointment, but it's not likely to be in Thousand Oaks. The one that we are doing on Friday is already booked solid. And she just told me last night that the one on the 21st is booked solid. I have to take the blame for this. We've already done one. We're doing 2 more. She said, you better get me 4 dates. And I said, we don't need 4 dates. We did fine last year. Well, I guess there's more baby boomers out there now. The need is growing. We lost the PPO, which confused some people. But you will be taken care of. It will be taken care of by December 7th, believe me. Okay? Okay, questions at the end? Okay. One of the other things that has happened this year is 5 different large corporations have sent letters to their retirees that said, we aren't going to cover you anymore. And call us and we'll tell you what to do. And I'm going to get into those letters as I go down the list. But the 5 companies doing that, the PPO leaving, and the growth of the number of seniors has really put this to a test. Okay, we took care of that. Okay, letters you may receive. From time to time, you may receive letters from a number of government agencies or insurers who are covering you for Medigap policies, Part D plans, providing you with information about your coverage and any changes that may be about to happen. Unfortunately, these letters look like any other junk mail you get. And from talking with a lot of people in the past 6 weeks, people take their junk mail and just dump it. They never open it, they never read it, they never look at it. And so you therefore don't know if something is changing. So for those of you, well, for all of you, I would suggest, especially at this time of year, but even all year long, open your junk mail. Look at it. If there's anything in there with a name, a number, or anything, shred it before you throw it away and get rid of the rest. But if this is pertinent to something that affects you, and by looking at it and reading it, you will say, oh my goodness, they dropped my PPO, I must have to do something. I better read the rest of this letter. These letters did explain, and the ones from the companies who are not covering their retirees anymore, these letters did explain exactly what you should do. So if you're coming in to see a counselor with one of those, bring the letter with you. We're not mind readers. For those of you who are losing your PPO, you have a special enrollment period. It lasts a little longer, and you can go back on straight Medicare if you want. Then you need to look at a Part D plan and a possibility for a Medigap policy, which is not too good. Or you can go on one of the other 4 HMOs that are left. That's easy to do. If you go on another HMO and you don't like it, within that first year that you're on that HMO, up to the 11th month, you can change and go back on Medicare. So it's not all set in cement. For those of you who had retiree plans and lost them, that letter is very explicit. It gives you the name of a company. I think one was One Exchange, and there was another One Aon or something like that you have to deal with. The companies have put these other people in charge, and they're helping you get out of the company plan and into a private plan. And you are given a date when you need to call this company. You have a phone appointment. The appointment will probably last at least 1 hour on the phone. That's terrible. But they will help you. They will give you the information you need and so forth. Some companies are giving you money to pay for the new plans, and some are not. So it depends upon the company you were with. I do know that AT&T is doing it this year to some retirees, not all retirees, and they are giving a subsidy of $2,700 to pay for those costs. So you work it out. But if you've gotten a letter from your ex-company and they're telling you it's going bye-bye, you want to read that letter. Okay? I really can't stress enough to read and understand this information. And if you want to talk to one of us, on the phone it doesn't work because you say, well, I'll read you the letter. And then you say, well, I won't read the first paragraph because that doesn't mean anything. And you start the second paragraph. And then you say, well, the next few lines aren't important. I have no idea what you read. I need to see the form. So if that's your case, then you make an appointment and come in and we'll help you read the letters. These letters could also be from Social Security as well as from Medicare for various things. So when these letters come in, please just don't throw them away. Even if you read them and you don't understand them, give us a call. We'll help. We don't always understand the letter either. Sometimes I sit there and I'm reading out loud to the person who's come in, and we're trying to figure out what the sentences are saying. So it's a little difficult. We also are finding that this has nothing to do with the change of Medicare itself, but I have had many people come in with letters from the school districts. You were teachers there at one time, and you had long-term care insurance with them, and they're changing those plans drastically. So you come in with a letter, and it says, if you don't do this, you're going to get an 85% increase in your premium. If you do one of the following things, it will help, and then the following things don't make much sense. So we can help you with those. But it's important then, after you have read these papers, and after you have taken the action that you need to take, don't throw them away. Keep them with your important papers for future. There may be some questions. Okay. Changes to Medicare itself. It's a fairly simple year this year. We're not changing much. And I'm still saying it's expected because we've been told that's what this is, but it hasn't really been set in cement. It is expected that the monthly premium and annual deductibles for Medicare Part B will remain the same. So the base rate for Medicare Part B that comes out of your Social Security check is $104.90. They expect that will stay the same. It will not go up. Now watch, tomorrow the newspaper will say it went up. But from what we hear at this point, it's not changing. And in Medicare Part B, there is a deductible of $147 each year before Medicare starts to cover. That is also being said will stay exactly the same. Changes in Medicare Part D itself, that is overall change. The Medicare Part D insurance plans can have a deductible, or it doesn't have to have a deductible. But if that company wants a deductible, it will go up $10. The deductible will be $320. Now, some companies will use that and will have a deductible of $320. They can't go any higher. Some companies will have a deductible, but it will be a lesser amount than that, and most of them don't have a deductible at all. The initial level to get out of the first part of Part D into called the donut hole, it's been raised to $2,960, so you have a little bit more money to play with before you go in the donut hole. And to come out of the donut hole, they've made it a little easier for you too. How many understand the donut hole? Okay, for those of you who don't, the donut hole, when Medicare Part D started in 2006, the donut hole was a period of time where you had reached the limit, you've gone into this donut hole, where you had to pay the full amount for your drugs. 2 years later, they changed that. We got the the pharmaceutical companies to chip in 50%. So starting, I think it was in either 2009 or 10, you only paid 50% of the drug, and the pharmaceutical company paid the other 50%. The year after that, Medicare came along and said, we will pay 2.5%. And they keep adding that 2.5% on. Supposedly by 2020, the donut hole should be gone. Don't bet your next dollar on that. Okay, so the donut hole this year, you will pay 45% of the drug if you have brand, and I believe it's 73% of the drug if you have generic. Okay, here's another. I think this is going to happen, but we're not sure yet. Social Security COLA increase is supposed to go up. I heard 1.5%, and I heard 1.7%. Nothing has been set in cement yet, but figure this way. If you get a 1.7% increase in your COLA, which will be about $20, $25, something in there. But your Medicare premium doesn't go up and your deductible doesn't go up. You get the whole amount, so you can go to Starbucks and have a cup of coffee. Okay, here comes the test. How many got this book? Okay, keep your hand up if you have read it. This book cost the government a lot of money to print. And they have to print different versions because this one is printed for Southern California. The information in the back is just for Southern California. It comes out to you in October every year, and it's written in fairly simple English so that it's understandable, and it has just gads and gads and gads of information. Now, I don't mind you calling me and asking me a question, but it might be, the answer might be right here in the book before you ever think of calling me, okay? Or you may be reading something in here that just triggers a question. It doesn't really answer it, but it makes you think about something, so then you would call and find out the answer on that. So this is really the Bible, and it really is written well, and I can't stress enough that you should all read it, all of you. Okay? I think that's all I have. Believe it or not, Francine. So if you want to finish us off, then we can take questions.
Well, I think we can take questions from the commissioners at this time.
Okay, that makes sense.
Is there anyone on?
Yes, Nancy.
Betty, I don't know if this is a question we can ask, but it's about Medicare, so
Okay.
I can ask it. Okay. Really good thing I came to this meeting. My husband has got more health issues than, I swear, the whole commission, I think, and just possibly found another new one. I mean,
Okay.
as of this week. Okay. He has, and this is the first time I've heard it, he has the Anthem PPO. Okay. So what do we do?
Okay, you have a choice.
Okay.
You definitely are going to have to do something because Anthem Blue ain't there.
Oh, we are going to do something. I just sent
Now,
emails to my family.
You have Anthem Blue as a senior advantage plan.
He has. I don't. I have the
Okay.
section. I have the senior F. He has the Medicare Advantage through Anthem, and it's the PPO.
Okay. He can select one of the 4 HMOs.
Not going to work for him. I don't think.
Okay. You asked me what you could do.
I know.
Or he can go back on Medicare.
Okay.
And he can buy a Part D plan. He can try to get a Medigap policy, but because of his health problems, he may be denied coverage.
So they could actually do that.
Yes.
So even though he had coverage, and this is when you're glad your kids went to law school, you know? Not kidding. Okay, so all right, so if he goes back to Medicare, he may be denied coverage, the Medigap coverage that I have, the Senior F
Right.
plan, because he definitely has health issues and a possible one right now.
And the health issues, and I don't need to
Yep.
know.
No.
Okay.
It's okay.
The health issues, I mean, if they're, well, there's nothing minor about any
These are
health
serious.
issues.
These
but
are
if they're
serious.
very serious, yes, they can deny the coverage. Because the Medigap policies are really not part of Medicare. They're
Okay.
the insurance
The insurance
industry,
company.
and they can do as they see fit.
Okay, yes.
And,
okay.
and I will just add this, that I'm not allowed to tell people when they come in, especially 65-year-olds who come in and say, I'm going on Medicare, what do I do? I can't tell them what to do, but I can sure stress you might want to try Medicare with a supplemental because you got a guaranteed right now.
Okay. Thank you
Please,
very much.
I'd like to hold the questions
Hold
from
it.
the audience for,
Oh, wait. You want?
Wait until we go off the air. Just remember what you want to say. Yeah.
okay. Any other questions from commissioners? I have one.
Yes.
You mentioned a number of these companies that were supplying services are going out of business. Is this a trend we should be worrying about
You mean for the retirees?
for retirees? And
Oh, yes. And part of this, and this is not a political statement, but part of this has come through the new health care plan. And companies used to get tax breaks for providing benefits. They're not getting them anymore. But yes, this is a plan. And mine confused me because this lady came in with a letter that said AT&T. I worked for AT&T. But in February, I got a letter that said, you may have heard of the changes in retiree benefits that are going to happen in 2015. Don't worry, it doesn't affect you. So I don't know how they split their retirees up. But yes, it is happening. And it has been happening for a number of years.
All right. Well, seeing no other questions here, I want to thank you, Betty,
You're
for
welcome.
informative talk as usual. And
Thank you.
Afterwards, thank you very much for me personally and everybody too. So thank you.
Okay, we have one more item on our agenda before we adjourn, and that's commissioner comments. Are there any commissioner comments today? Yes, Ron.
I just wanted to reiterate what Jane Messier said earlier. This mileage reimbursement program is fantastic because most seniors that I know have somebody driving them someplace at some point in time, whether it's to the senior center or to shopping or to the doctor's appointment. It doesn't make any difference if it's your grandson or your grandfather or your great-grandfather or your friend or your neighbor next door. It doesn't matter. You arrange with whomever you want to drive you, and then at the end of the month, you turn in the number of mileage, and they give you a check and a reimbursement for that mileage, and then you disperse the money to your drivers. So it's a rider-dominated program. The rider is the one that's in charge. The rider fills out the application. The rider should go to these meetings that are coming up, and I think the dates Jane gave us was December 12th and December 16th. I'd encourage you, even if you're thinking about asking someone for a ride, they can get reimbursed. And that's kind of a nice thing nowadays, so to get reimbursed for mileage. So it's a very, very good program. I recommend for everybody who lives in Ventura County. Now, the flyer I have says 60 years of age or older. Jane said that Nicole told her it was 65, so that's a question that's going to have to be answered at that meeting on the 12th or the 16th at the Goebel Center. So please, if you know anybody who, or yourself or anybody you know that has people drive them from time to time, they need to go to this meeting. It's easy to qualify. It's an easy program to compensate you for that mileage. I just have one other fast thing. There's a program at the library tonight, 6:30, The Art of Painting Restoration. Vida Clem is a conservator, an art restorer, and if you're interested at all in art or how they restore these paintings that they have, especially down at the Getty now with the huge exhibit they have there, you might be interested. It's tonight at the Thousand Oaks Library, 6:30 p.m. It's free. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Ron. Yes, Karen?
A couple weeks ago, I attended the Boomer Boot Camp that was sponsored by Senior Concerns as well as the Council on Aging, and it was excellent. It was a lecture and a movie about rock and roll legends who are now in their senior years and how they are faring. And I also had the chance to meet an author, Ivor... Oh, I don't remember his last name. He traveled with the Beatles when they were on their 1964 tour in America and wrote a book about it. Fascinating book, fascinating gentleman. It was a terrific evening. So keep an eye out for that Boomer Boot Camp. I don't know if it'll be next year or not, but if that comes around again, that's something you're not going to want to miss. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I have one announcement, and that is that our Council on Aging Senior Adult Master Plan, which is about halfway through its 10-year implementation cycle, is chronically looking for new ideas and new volunteers to sort of help them help the city solve problems that relate to seniors. And if you like some volunteer opportunities and one where we can certainly pick your brain as to things that you think need to be done and how we can do them, that may be an opportunity that would interest you. And if you would like to find out, we're going to have a breakfast to meet people who are want to learn a bit more about the program and the opportunities there and so forth. This will be held on December 11th at 8:30 in the morning. And if you have an interest in going to that, please contact Francine either by sending an email to councilonaging@toaks.org. It's Council on Aging, all one word, @toaks.org, or calling Francine at 805-381-7362. Okay. Are there any other? No. Yeah, Francine will tell you the location and so forth when you call her. So that's why we're not revealing it now. All right. Any other comments? Well, if not, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you, Betty.